What is going on, all you card collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the 40-year-old collector. So I've got a ton of stuff out there on YouTube right now, but I think this video has the opportunity to be the most impactful. So I've been collecting PSA graded cards for almost 20 years now, and I've been able to build a six-figure plus collection. So what I'm going to share with you today are some of the tips and tricks and maybe guiding principles, if you want to call them that have helped me get where I am, all on an average income. So we got a ton of cool stuff to go after today. I've got 5 tips. The one at the very end I think is the most impactful and most near and dear to my heart. So if you can stick through all the way to the end, I promise it's going to be worth it. All right, everybody, lots of stuff to unpack, so let's get after it right now. All right, let's get after it. So listen, I've reshot this video like 10 times. That's because I want it to be perfect, because I feel like this is the most impactful video that I've made up to this point. So with that being said, hey, if you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up. At the end of the day, I want to get this in front of as many people as possible, because I really think that this is going to help collectors. And I think, a strong collecting base is going to lead to a strong hobby, which I think all of us benefit from. So if you take 2 seconds, I appreciate that. But let's get into it right now. So I know this is labeled, hey, this is for newbies, like this is 5 mistakes everyone makes in the beginning, but at the end of the day, the reality is this is for all of us, because I find myself making these mistakes, and I've been doing this for 20 years. So just because it's labeled, hey, 5 mistakes newbies make, or things to avoid in the very beginning, this is something we should all keep top of mind as we go through our collecting journey, because inevitably we're humans, we'll make errors, we will stray off course. We need to make sure we keep all these principles top of mind. That way we can get back on track when we need to. Okay? So with that, let's lead into the first big one that I love. Stay focused. Okay? Don't suffer that squirrel moment.
Squirrel?
Yeah,
That's when you're focused, you're dialed in, you're doing your thing, and then all of a sudden something pulls your attention off course. And it happens. It happens in real life. It happens in the collecting hobby all the time. There's a lot of cool stuff out there. That is what makes this hobby so amazing. There's stuff for everybody. There's rookie patch autos, there's vintage, there's modern, there's ultra modern. I even heard one era called the millennial era. There's all kinds of awesome stuff out there. What you need to do is understand what you're going after and stay focused, okay? I had this happen multiple times in my career. Just last night, I was looking at some of my cards. I have a GAI graded Buck Buchanan rookie card signed. Okay, so it's in a GAI slab. It authenticated the autograph. It's his rookie card, but that's not what I collect, right? Like, I collect PSA graded, not GAI graded, Hall of Fame rookie cards. So why is this card in my collection? Well, there was a brief moment where I got sidetracked. I had my squirrel moment. I thought, hey, like, I love collecting these rookie cards, but wouldn't it be cool if I had all the rookie cards and them autographed? Took time, took money, took focus away from my ultimate objective. Now I have that card, and to be honest with you, it just doesn't bring me a lot of joy. Like, it's a cool card, but GAI, you don't even hear about GAI anymore. So that's my biggest first piece of advice, is understand that stay focused on what you're going after. It's going to keep you happier, but also know that you will stray from time to time. The difference is have the foresight, have the personal reflection to be able to say, hey, I'm getting off course. I need to get back, because I promise you in the long run, it'll make you happier, and it'll also make you richer, because you're going to be focused on things that are important to you. So it'll help you grow that collection. The next one, and this is another thing that I struggle with, and I think all of us do, especially since we live in such an on-demand world now, is being patient, okay? It's hard in the hobby. Like I said, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. Any card basically is at your fingertips right now. You can go on eBay or PWCC or Heritage Auctions or Facebook. There's a million different places that you can go on and you can buy cards now. You need to understand you can't have it all right now unless you're Bill Gates or, Jeff Bezos and you have unlimited funds. You are going to have times where you miss out on a buy it now that you think, oh, in hindsight, I should have pulled the trigger. You're going to have times where you miss out on an auction where you are overbid and you're like, oh, I should have bid $10 more. The thing that I struggle with is you have to understand that that card's going to come up for sale again. Okay? So you just got to be patient. Okay? I don't think any of my purchases have been bad, because I usually buy things that give me joy and at least fill, except when I lose focus, at least fill a hole in my set. But some of the purchases that I've overpaid for have been a lack of patience. Every time I get out of the hobby, when I jump back in it, I inevitably end up buying a buy it now within the first week. And I inevitably see that same card coming up for auction and selling for way less further down the road.
Slow and steady wins the race. You're only competing with yourself.
So, this is a marathon, not a sprint. You should enjoy every frickin' second of this. Take a moment, smell the roses, understand that lifelong collections take a lifelong to build. So, breathe, be patient, enjoy every moment of it, and understand that no matter what happens, especially in this hobby, inevitably, you're going to get another shot at it. Okay? So be patient. We're going to keep our focus, and we're going to be patient on this journey. I've referenced a couple of them already, but you have to be watchful of eBay pitfalls. So like I just referenced, most of the buy it nows you're going to find on eBay are priced over last auction closing price. And by that I mean maybe the average 4 auctions have closed at $117. You'll find buy it nows for $149, $159, $169. So that's where you have to make a decision. Do I want to pay a little bit of a premium to have it now? Do I want to sacrifice a little patience to have it now? Or do I want to wait for an auction where I know I can save some money on it? Something that I struggle with, like I said, sometimes I pull the trigger, but you got to be mindful of your eBay buy it nows. If you know what you're going after, you can get some great deals. If you watch all my videos, you'll see that I've got some amazing steals in buy it nows. So it can be a double-edged sword. It can either be the best of tools, or it can really, really be a hindrance to you. So be mindful of that. The other thing too is take every description with a grain of salt. I just saw a description today. Somebody was selling a PSA 10 card, and they described it as an eBay 1 of 1. Now the card wasn't a 1 of 1. The population in PSA 10 isn't a 1 of 1. But I think what they were trying to say is this is the only PSA 10 of this card on eBay, so it's an eBay 1 of 1.
It's a trap!
Makes no sense, right? Like that's just the seller who's trying to get a premium for their card. They're trying to deceive you. Do your research. Make sure you know what you're buying. Don't fall for that stuff. You'll see people with raw cards. They'll say mint. They'll say gem mint. I promise you this. If somebody knows the word gem mint and they're posting a card on eBay and they call it gem mint and they're not sending in to get it graded themselves, it's probably not gem mint, right? Like they would send it in and get it graded themselves. So you can also look at the things that they sell. If you see that they sell a ton of raw cards, then it's probably has a shot at least being mint. But if they sell a ton of graded cards and then all of a sudden they have a ungraded card up, the odds are in their mind it wouldn't cut the grade for grading. So that's why they have it on eBay. So just some tips and tricks to be mindful of. And finally, I talked about this earlier, think outside the bay. Like eBay has the most cards, it's the easiest to use, but there's also a ton of other auction houses out there. Don't be intimidated by it. There's also a ton of websites out there that you can go to. I would say at least 10% of my cards have come from websites where I just buy it at the price that it's listed on the website. Facebook Marketplace, Discord, Twitter, PWCC, Heritage Auctions, all of these are places where you can go to look for great values in cards, and a lot of times you can find better prices than on the bay. There's even this little trick that I heard about where you can buy it cheaper on some of these other auction sites and turn around and flip it on eBay. That's not me. I'm a collector, not a speculator, so I don't do the flipping of cards, but if you want to lose your focus a little bit and get into that, I'm not going to hate you for it. So make sure you educate yourself on eBay, all right? And then this one, it sounds like a no-brainer, but I promise you I make this mistake. You will too along the way. Don't ever sacrifice quality to buy a card now to fill a hole in your set. So I've done it in the past. I have some, mid 50s graded in a 4.5. I think I even have a 60s graded in a 6. Like those are areas where I really want to be going after. In the 50s, I like 6s and 7s. In the 60s, I like 7s and 8s within reason, which I can afford. But sometimes I find myself, I just want to fill that hole so badly that I will buy a lesser quality card just because I want to complete the set, or I want to complete the era, or I want to complete the team. So don't ever do that. And I know it's hard. You might have to save a little longer. You have to wait a little longer while you're waiting for that card to pop up on eBay or one of these other sites that I talked about. But the wait is going to be worth it. Here's what's true. A PSA 7 or a PSA 8 is going to appreciate at a higher percentage rate than a PSA 4 or a PSA 5 of the same card. Your quality cards appreciate at a higher percentage than your lower quality, okay? For the most part, people who are looking to buy quality, they have obviously a little extra coin in their pocket. They'll pay a little bit more of a premium. As you get higher in quality, the pop counts get smaller, which drives scarcity, which drives price. You know, if you watch some of my earlier videos, I go through an exercise where I'm looking at different cards that are very similar, and the biggest difference is their population report, which is going to drive that value. So I urge you, even if you have to wait a little longer, buy quality, okay? That is going to pay dividends in the long run. And the difference in eye appeal between an 8 and a 6 is night and day. Years from now, when you're looking back, you're not going to remember the cards that you passed up, but you're going to find a lot of joy and excitement in the ones that you ended up getting. So keep a good focus on quality. I promise that you're going to love it in the long run. And then this last one is honestly the most near and dear to my heart. And this is the reason I started this whole channel. There is so much noise in our hobby right now. It's crazy. Don't buy into the hype. There are breakers who are screaming into cameras. There are people who are jumping on tables. There are YouTube channels that are dedicated to hating on the sports card industry, which I get it. Hey, you got to have both sides. Like, I'm a big believer. You got to listen to both sides, the good and the bad, and then you figure out your own opinion. But at the end of the day, I really want you to trust and believe in yourself. Trust and believe in your instincts. I saw a video the other day and somebody was celebrating the fact that Geno Smith's cards are up 70%. Guess what? That's great. Geno Smith's a great guy. He's had an amazing NFL journey. But if you think those cards are going to retain whatever stupid price they're at right now in the next 5, 10, or 15 years, you're crazy. I promise. In 15 years, nobody's going to look back and remember that in 2022, Geno Smith took the Seattle Seahawks and they were number 1 in their division. They're probably not going to win the Super Bowl. Nobody's going to remember how far they got in the playoffs. Nobody's going to remember that. The cards aren't going to hold any value. So when you listen to these people who are talking about week over week, this card grew this, or week over week, this changed that, unless you are able to instantly buy a card, instantly flip a card. Remember, when you buy cards on eBay or these sites, you have to buy them, they have to ship them, you have to receive them, then you have to relist them, then somebody has to buy it. Like, there's a lot that has to go into when you're trying to flip sports cards.
Man, it dang old complicated, you know, man.
Just remember, too, the prices of today reflect the performances of the past. So if you want to get into Geno Smith, go for it. Just remember, you better keep that hot hand. That way those prices stay high. Okay, at the end of the day, all I care about is you collecting what you love. I don't care what that is. If it's flipping cards, flip cards. If you want to collect everything under the sun, go for it. All I want to do is provide you with some tips and tricks and guidelines and principles that have helped me stay the course for over 20 years, that have helped me find this incredible love and passion for the hobby, and then has helped me, you know, I've grown a lot of wealth through my collection. It's a decent percentage of my overall net worth. I don't intend on ever selling it, but I know that if, you know, things get crazy and I need to, I've got a good little nest egg built up in football cards that someday I can flip. So, hey, I always appreciate you all watching. Again, if you find value in this, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. Let's get this word of gospel around collecting out to as many people as possible. Thank you so much. Have a great day and happy collecting.